Welcome back, everybody. Today we are talking about Kadena. There have been a ton of bullish updates around the project the last couple weeks, so we're going to dive into those, then cover some chart analysis and price predictions as well. So let's waste no time, get right into it. We have a lot to cover that I think you guys are going to enjoy. First off, before we dive into some of the data, I just wanted to let you guys know I do have a free chart pattern guide for my subscribers. So if this looks like something that would be beneficial to you or you would find valuable, feel free to just drop your email in the link in the description below. You'll see it down there. So let's get right into it. So obviously, if you have any background on Kadena, it's a layer 1 blockchain. It's really one of the closest to solving the blockchain trilemma, and they recently had a ton of news come out specifically around what's being built on the project. So first of all, KDDX was recently launched. So this is the first DEX, and it's actually mainly gasless transactions for Kadena on their blockchain. And what's so unique about it is the fact that it actually led to an absolute explosion in the total value locked on the Kadena blockchain. As you can see, it's reached basically an all-time high. And ever since, DeFi was launched on Kadena, it really didn't see anything past, 9.5 million. And just yesterday we saw 10.5 million, and coming right before KDDX, the actual total value locked was under 3 million and hitting a low of 1.8, 1.6. So really, really impressive there. And, KDDX has obviously gotten a ton of usage recently. The fact that it is a, gasless DEX on a layer 1, pretty incredible. All other layer 1s, you're going to have some sort of a fee going on. But with KDDX, they've actually made it mainly gasless. So it's really, really interesting to see this take off. It's absolutely exploded. It's really enhanced the ability for users to engage on Kadena and has made it just incredible in terms of the ability for more users to get onboarded and more users to have a great time on the Kadena blockchain. So that is one of the most explosive news bits so far that's come out in the last couple weeks. The other thing I want to review here are just some metrics revolving around Kadena in the last year. So it's been really, really interesting, to take a step back and really look at how it's performed, right? So in the last year, the price has increased by 274%. This is going to be pretty unique across a lot of different altcoins and layer 1s, as you can see by this next statistic. So it outperformed 99% of the top 100 crypto assets in 1 year and outperformed Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. Another thing that I think flies under the radar that actually is quite important is the fact that it does have a high liquidity based on its market cap. We see a lot of these smaller projects actually start to dump, almost exponentially harder because of such a low liquidity that they have in their liquidity provider pools. So a lot of the times we will see, high volatility because of low liquidity, and that will not happen on the Kadena front. A couple of risks though to be aware of. So we do have it trading below the 200-day simple moving average. I would almost consider that rather bullish. A lot of the times when we look at different crypto, if they're trading below the 200-day average, historically it's a good time to buy. Obviously not financial advice, but that's just a chart trend that I have seen, and that's been pretty widely held. The other thing that I would note here is that we're down 93% from the all-time high, so that is quite an opportunity to seize there. The other thing though that I think actually may be a concern is the yearly inflation of 30%, 31%. So what this is referring to is the fact that Kadena has actually not reached its total circulating supply yet. So if we look up here, we're actually looking at 184 million out of 1 billion tokens. So we're at 18%. We're going to have quite a bit of inflation of the KDA token over time. So it's going to be interesting to keep that in perspective as well. But nonetheless, it's still a something to watch out for, but not necessarily something that's unique to Kadena in terms of an inflation issue. But if we do see enough buyers coming in, it will counteract a lot of this inflation rate as well, but definitely something to keep tabs on. Now, the next thing I just want to mention briefly is just how impressive the follower count and the growth of the Kadena community has been. They're getting thousands of followers a week, and it's just been incredible to see this community get built so quickly, with such high intensity, and to have so many people following this project and really keeping tabs on what's going on. And it's created a lot of momentum, specifically around how quickly it's been able to have been listed on other markets. So obviously we have Binance, we have KuCoin, Gate.io, Binance US recently, and actually that's where the highest liquidity percentage is. So one of the best liquidity pools for Kadena in the entire market is on Binance US. But most of the volume is being done between Binance and KuCoin. So between that, we're looking at almost 45% in terms of the amount of volume being done of all Kadena trades. But we're seeing it being added to things like Bybit, BitterX, OKCoin, CoinX, CoinMetro. We're seeing a lot of exchanges pick Kadena up, and it's created a lot of upward momentum over the last few weeks, month or so, in addition to a lot of the launches that have been coming out recently. So it's really, really cool to see more and more markets pick up Kadena and allow for the trading of the token. Now, another thing that I want to talk about really briefly is just how early we are in terms of the market cap of Kadena and its potential, right? We talked about how it's a layer 1 blockchain and it's doing a great job so far at solving the blockchain trilemma, scalability, security, speed. And so now it's really been cool to kind of compare it to some of your top layer 1s. So things like, AVAX, right? If we were to say, okay, well, what would the Kadena price be if we reached a AVAX market cap, which I don't think is that out of the realm of possibility, right? If we look over to AVAX and another, layer 1 Polkadot as well, we're looking at 8 billion market cap for AVAX and just under 10 billion market cap for DOT. So a lot of times when I'm looking at potential Kadena price predictions, potential expectations of where we could be headed in the future, a lot of the times I like to look at these layer 1s, Phantom, AVAX, DOT, just because it's a little bit more realistic than looking at, a Cardano or a Ethereum. So it's really, really interesting to take a look at something like an AVAX or DOT as opposed to Solana and some of these others where, we have market caps that are really in sight, right? I mean, 8 billion is not out of the question. We're hovering around 380 million right now at Kadena. And if we were to say, okay, let's actually look at, a market cap for DOT as well. We're looking at a $55.50 Kadena, which would be a 27x from here. So just a lot of upside potential, especially the fact that it's a layer 1 trying to solve this trilemma. And there's a lot of layer 1s out there that haven't been able to solve this yet. And there's a lot of layer 1s in the market that, have a potential to get less traction if something like a Kadena can kind of make sure they're introducing the best technology possible. So I always like to compare this, looking at potential price targets, if I think 55 and, reaching up maybe to that AVAX market cap again around $43. I think those are realistic targets in the long term for Kadena. Are they going to come next year? I don't think so. But, in terms of long term looking out, I like to compare them to AVAX and DOT. Now, going into some of the chart analysis here, I just want to point out some of the key areas and key kind of channels that we've been fluctuating in. We had this kind of beautiful U-shaped recovery here just in the last month or so. You saw even the potential case for a cup and handle here. And then we obviously got that pump out of that. But it's been really, really interesting to see the fact that we're basically solidly reclaiming this $2 level, which we had issue with, back in May or so, early June. That's where we kind of started to really fall down and take this final drop back down to 130, 135, and then kind of find a bottom there, and then have, this kind of quad touch here on the support to have us reverse there. But really, really strong out of the chart, reclaiming this $2 level. Right now, it seems like the key is to not only hold this $2 level, but in terms of moving to the upside, it does seem like we're gonna have to break this $2.40 level in terms of getting out of this neckline. So you can see, right here, this U-shaped recovery is basically barred by that $2.40 mark. Once we pass that, we're going to be looking at somewhere between $2.75 and $3.50. So we're going to have actually quite a wide range to play once we break this area. So we could have quite a wide channel, 35 to 40% room for movement in the short term. Now, does that mean that I think that we're going to do a full reversal and go back to, $20, $30? No, that's not what I'm saying, right? I'm just saying in the short term, we're looking at holding that $2 support, which it seems like we're doing it pretty solidly there, and then reclaiming this $2.40 level. So what that would look like is standing on top of this. So coming up here, standing on top, and then hopefully we range in this channel, which would be, a 35% give or take channel here, holding this solid position, coming down up through here based on what happens. Obviously, inflation, macroeconomically, there's a lot going on, but at the same time, I think if we're able to stay within this channel, that's a really, really strong setup to go further. In terms of actually looking at a full-on, let's say, full-on bullish turnaround for Kadena, I really think that the expectation needs to be based on the fib retracement. And if we're going to look at the fib retracement, we're really not looking at a, bona fide full turnaround to the upside until we break this key $7.60 level at the 0.236 fib. If we can break that, obviously, then, we have quite a room to go up until $11.50. But right now, I think, it's really important that we break $2.41 and then play up to $3.50, $3.80. So that's $3.80, $3.50. But to actually get a full swing back to the upside, back to go play for the all-time high, we're going to need to see a solidified clean break above $7.60. So I would just keep your expectations around there. Now, given, Kadena has done so well in the last few weeks, obviously we want to make sure that we're able to reclaim that $2 support. But I also want to speak just a little bit to the health of the overall structure of the chart. So if we look at where we were, let's say at the summer low back here in July of 21, we're still up, 700%, give or take, 600% from where we were at in that all-time low in the summer. Now, if we compare that to a lot of your other layer ones or major altcoins, let's say, for example, like a Solana, Solana is, barely up. We're talking about, 100%. So just a quarter, even less than, what Kadena has been able to do over that time frame. If we also compare this to ADA has actually had, a really tough time. If we look at that summer low and compare it to where we're at now, right now, we're still down 43%. So really, really interesting to see that. And we're going to see the same thing here-ish with Ethereum, basically a net zero gain from this, summer low to now, 15% gain. So, essentially net zero based on the percentages that we're talking about. But I think that paints a really, really good picture for where Kadena is at and how we've been able to hold this level that we're at right now. So that is really what I wanted to break down for you guys today. Hopefully that was helpful. Kadena is looking super, super bullish. Obviously, this is all about the long-term play. Do they have the best technology? Are they bringing in enough users into their layer one blockchain? And can they keep that momentum on the social activity and Twitter and all that kind of stuff and keep that community built? So thank you so much. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to cover. Hopefully this is helpful, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.